Jan, and I'm so excited to have this call with you. I just had the privilege to be in Dallas, Texas, or right outside of Dallas, Texas, with my husband, Andy, and some amazing women that earned this trip to Leaders Retreat. Leaders Retreat is something that happens once a year with Plexus, and very much like the Emerald Extravaganza, you have to earn it. And what's a little bit different than all the other trips that Plexus offers is that it's based on your own personal effort with PV and customers over a 3-month period of time, but also it's a group effort where you're also getting credit in a contest for new ambassadors that join your team in your first 4 levels. So it's exciting. There's all different things that you can win. And win, I mean by earn with these credits. And the first thing that you earn is the ability to go to Leaders Retreat. And we stayed at the beautiful Gaylord Resort in Grapevine, Texas. Just the hotel alone is somewhere in the range of $300 a night. So Plexus paid for us to be there 3 nights with a guest. There were all kinds of receptions and events. And then there were other things that you could earn as well. There was a special reception. There were cash prizes that you could win, $150, $750. There was an opportunity to go on a celebrity chef tasting, which was amazing. And there was also a $3,000 shopping spree to Nordstrom. And I'll have to brag on myself just a little bit because in all of Melissa Martin's team, I was the only person that got the $750 check. And so that was exciting. And so I was really happy to do that. And without you guys, that wouldn't have been possible. And that's because of the momentum and the growth that our team has seen and continue to see throughout the past really 18 months. I mean, our team has consistently grown, and that's really exciting. So when I was in Kona on the Emerald Extravaganza, Plexus flew in a motivational speaker. Her name is Carrie Wilkerson, and that's C-A-R-R-I-E. If you've never heard of her, I would definitely recommend that you check her out on Facebook, on her website. Just Google her name. You can also Google Barefoot CEO. She comes up that way as well. And when we were in Kona, we had the opportunity to have 2 different 2-hour training sessions with Carrie. And Plexus brought her back for Leaders Retreat to do a 1-hour training with us that I thought was absolutely amazing. And it talked about your leadership DNA. And so I've asked the 3 ladies who earned the trip. There were 2 other ladies, Barry Mangum and April Dawn Rainey, who also earned the trip that were not able to make it. So I do want to recognize them. But Casey, Kirsten, and Annette are on the call tonight. They all were on the trip, and they got to hear Carrie speak live. And I know, like me, they were just writing away when she was speaking because she really had a lot of great things to share. And she talked about our DNA. If you think about the science behind the DNA, what makes you who you are, we don't really have a lot of control over that. And so one of the quotes that she started with is, are you defaulting to your DNA, how you grew up, the belief system that you were given by your parents? She says you can't deny it, but you can defy it. And I thought that was really interesting. That was one of the things I wrote down. She said that we're all born the builder's model, but she's a fan of remodeling, which I love. And so with that, I'm going to pass it over to Annette. Let me find you, Annette, so I can unmute you. Annette's going to talk about the D of DNA, sort of what Carrie's take was on the letter D and how it can refer back to your leadership style, you as a Plexus ambassador, and then just your life as a whole. So Annette?
Hey everybody, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good, okay. Well, first of all, I want to say that Leaders Retreat was amazing. Kirsten and I earned the Club 500, which was a pretty big deal. We kind of got treated like, VIP, and it was for, having a certain amount of PV for consistently for 2 out of the 3 months. So when Gary was speaking that day, I got there a little bit early, sit in line with Kelly, and, kind of wanted to be front and center of all of that because I knew it was going to be a great speaker. So, I got us front of where we could go as Club VIP, and it was the very front, but behind where all of the, 750 earners, the Nordstrom's people, all of them were sitting. So, it was the 4 of us sitting here, and in front of us is Celeste Gwynn, her parents. Over 1 row above is Sonia Dudley, Helen McFadden, Sheila Medina, Timmy Yancey, Christy Hall. There is Rosalind Payne, Rebecca Folks. So we're like, ooh, I mean, you're hearing this, talking about this motivational of our business, and here are these people that are, Celeste Gwynn, she was right in front of us, and she's a double diamond. And I think it really, I know Pearson was the same way. It blows your mind, and you really are like, wow, this is so obtainable. I'm so pumped up to do this, just because these people are right there that have done it. These women that are average women just like the rest of us, and here they are just cranking. Yeah, there it is. She put up the picture of her and Celeste Gwynn. I talked to Sonia Dudley. I was like, I've never been starstruck, but I seriously, I teared up talking to her, thanking her for all of her videos.
It's like being at the Oscars or something, isn't it?
It was. She was amazingly kind and sweet. And then she looked right at me later on, was like, do you have any edge? And I was like, I don't have any edge. I've got block. You want block? Take the block. Just take my back. So, it was just absolutely amazing. But the DNA, which I thought is really cool, because that really is the foundation of life. And if, you kind of apply it to your business, this training really, is the foundation for our business. And the first thing that she talked about, and I'm kind of going to go back and forth from my notes, was the destination, and how you have to have, a destination. And you have to know where you're going to go. What do you want to do? Do you want to earn, $500 a month? Do you just want to pay for your products? Do you want to earn $1,000 a month? Or do you want to go all the way? Which is where I know we did, especially just being right with those people that have gone all the way. That's where you want to go. That's your destination. And that's the first foundation of the DNA. She said you have to have desire and drive. If you don't have that, you're not going to be successful in this business. You have to know what it takes to get where you are going, and you have to every day, put the time in to do what it is that you need to do, and be consistent with it. That is one thing that she talked about a lot, is consistency. You can't, there's all going to be all kinds of things that are going to come up that are going to try to stop you from your goals, which are fear and just what other people are going to think of you. And you know what? Who cares what other people think? They are not writing your check at the end of the day. So you just can't care about that. And I thought that was really huge. She also said that D really could stand for desperation. We are all could be one step from the financial crisis that is going to kick us into gear to really work this business. She talked about, what is it, where is it that you're going, and how are you going to get there? What is your why? And I think that was really important for me to sit down and say, okay, you know what is it about, what was it that I really want to achieve out of this? What is my why? And that really needs to be my focus every single day. She said that it's not the vehicle that's important, but it's how you get there. How you get there doesn't matter. It's where you're going that matters. And I think that was huge, because there's so many different people that get to where they want to go by all different types of ways. There's Celeste Gwynn here. She might have gotten to a diamond different than Timmy Yancey got to a diamond, but the fact is they got there. There was a path. It was different for every single person, but at the end, their destination was where they were going. You need to actually always have a plan and a purpose, for your business. She said, you can't lead other people if you don't have your own destination. It's just not going to work. The big thing that I took from it was she talked about talking with your shareholders about your destination, and that was huge for me. I know that my family knows that I want to go all the way and I want to be a diamond. But I don't think that, when they see me pounding away on my computer or answering a message at 10 o'clock at night when I'm supposed to be laying in bed, that's what it's going to take to get me to where my goals are. So they said to sit down with those people in your family that, live in your household or even that don't, and talk about what it's going to take. So there is an understanding, and involve them and say, hey, you know what? What's my success going to look like for you? I mean, if we could build this business, what's it going to look like for you? Give them the opportunity to make their own dream board as well, not just one that you have, and then to have one all together. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about that. But I mean, that for me, it really was, having a purpose, knowing where it is that you're going, and every day being consistent to get yourself there. So thanks. That's D.
Awesome. Yeah, the shareholder piece, she talked about some in Hawaii, and that is really important to get that buy-in from your family, and so that they are supporting you. And the only other thing that I wrote down about D is make sure that you're very clear about that destination that you talked about. That if it's diamond, then that's what it is. It's diamond. It's not, well, I think I might want to be a diamond. You either want it or you don't. And so that was awesome. Thank you so much, Annette. I'm going to mute you back here. And Casey, let me find you. There you are. Casey is going to talk about the letter N in DNA.
Okay, guys, so I have N, and N stands for narrative. And I loved this piece. I was actually going to kind of piggyback on what Annette said with having a talk with your shareholders, because when you think about what a narrative is or what a narrator does, they basically, if you watch a play, the narrator helps you follow the story. So when you think about your life or this journey as going to diamond, the narrator is there to kind of clear things up, and we have to be our own narrator in this situation. So to say, well, I'm going to go to diamond and here's what that's going to look like. Well, my shareholders, which is my family and close friends, they need a clear idea of what that looks like. So being your own narrator, she didn't exactly speak to that, but that's one thing I kind of got out of it that I wanted to share. So most of the narrative is believing in yourself and what's your story. We talk about stories all the time now, especially after our Leslie Zan training, and we sort of have our story, but we need to clear it up, and we need to really be our story. So like kind of what's your story as you walk around life with Plexus? What are you telling? Are you putting off good vibes, or are people looking at you like, well, I don't want to do Plexus, when all she posts about is her kids getting on her nerves, or every time I see her, she's, down grumbling on her phone. And, besides what you're showing the world, what kind of story are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself, you know what, I am a boss babe and I'm killing this business. People want to join my team because I am the leader of the century. And that's what I tell myself, right? Or are you saying like, I'm never going to even get to Ruby, or I worked so hard, I reached out to people, but no one wants to join my team. Well, when you're saying that to yourself, that's what the universe hears, and that's what's going to happen. So watching your self-talk, I think a lot of us, I've heard this before, sometimes we speak to ourselves worse than we would ever, speak to a friend. Or I always think about it when I'm talking to myself and a little bit of negativity creeps in, how if someone were talking to my children that way. And if someone talks to your child in even the least amount of any negative way, Mama Bear comes out and attacks. And you got to be your own Mama Bear. So if you're starting to hear the negative thoughts, think about that. Think about what your mom would do if someone was speaking to you like that, because the claws would come out and nip that in the bud. So really thinking like using those affirmations. And I'm just going to give a couple examples. Fiona Lindsay, I've talked about this on my team before I actually printed it out. She's the founder of the Network Formula. And a huge part of her formula is affirmations, what you say to yourself. And they're all affirmations that deal with network marketing. I think that's a hard thing for people to start to do, is have those affirmations. Like, well, I don't know how to have positive self-talk. And it's something that's learned. It's something you teach yourself. So she says things like, I attract highly motivated people to my business. I enjoy my business. Money comes to me freely. I'm an effective leader. And these are just ones that are good if you can't think of your own, and that's okay. Another awesome little deal that I share is a Miracles Now deck. This is by Gabrielle Bernstein. And you can just sort of open up the deck and pick a card. Like this one says, I don't dance around the perimeter of the person I want to be. I step in fully and completely. Or I call on my running buddies when I'm on my path to spiritual growth. Business-wise, when I celebrate myself, I celebrate living. So those are just two that I really love that have been helpful for me and for my team. So to kind of close, she really talked about digging deep. Stop the blame, stop the shame. Blame's the big one, and she did talk about blame. She didn't say anything about shame, but I think that that's something that is really, really hard as women to break away from. And just to really take ownership. This is you. This is your business. This is your life. These are your thoughts, your everything. And to break out of that cocoon and be a butterfly. She said that when you mash up a butterfly and you mash up a caterpillar and put it under a microscope, same DNA. So I think sometimes we all get kind of stuck in our cocoon and it's safe in there. And we want to stay in there, but it's time to break free. It's time to emerge. And when you have your destination, like Annette said, and it's clear and focused, and you have your narrative and it's positive, and you've told the world and the universe and your shareholders, taking action, which Kirsten's going to talk about next, that's when your butterfly comes. So I'm done.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, awesome. I loved, Carrie talked about when the caterpillar is in the cocoon, it becomes sort of this mush. And then in between the time where it's doing the changing. And, she said, we're always going to have times where we go into a cocoon. That's not just a one and done. There's always going to be times when we're growing and changing. But I wrote down where she says, you can't just live in the cocoon forever. You can't just be in the mush stage forever. She says you can stop creating cocoons for yourself and stop jumping into other people's cocoons.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was pretty cool too, because it's so true. And especially when you're a leader of other people have messes going on in their life. And there's a difference between helping coach and lead somebody through that versus jumping in and getting in the mess yourself. And so I thought that was a big takeaway as well. Thank you. All right. And Kirsten, let me scroll down to you. All righty. Kirsten is going to talk about the letter A.
All right, so I am the letter A, action, and it's going to go a lot back to the butterfly. The whole butterfly, thing was just, oh wow, and the best part about that was that she said she hated butterflies, so she hated to use this metaphor. She was like, anyway. Okay, so I'm going to talk about action because that is, what we do. We want to. If we want the butterfly check, we got to do the work. We can't be caterpillars and just inch along and get our step. So right now, when you first sign on, you're like the little caterpillar. You bought this business and you're just inching away, and what's going to happen? And, are we ready for it all? And what are we going to do? But we're ready again to cash that butterfly check. But before we can do that, we got to get in our cocoon. We got to get in our cocoon, and we got to do what we have to do. Hold on. Like I said, everything's broken down in the cocoon. It's the messiest part, and it's the hardest part. It's where all the work is. So we aren't going to cash the butterfly check if we haven't done the work, if we haven't taken the action. And that's what we have to do. So one of the things that she said, I loved her because she's pretty tough love. She's kind of tough love, yet motivating. And so the first thing she did was she called some people out. And she said, the first thing you have to do is you have to be a product of this product. You can't be over there like, I gotta, and then sucking down a pizza. It's like, it's not going to work. It's just not, you have to be a product of the product. We are a health and wellness company, and we have to act like that. That is an action. Take action and act like that. Another thing she said was get up, exercise, and get dressed. Get up, get dressed, get out was the other thing she said too. You've got to get out of the house. We all know there's only so much we can do with Facebook and a phone. You've got to actually get out and talk to people and see people. Another thing that I wrote down that she get organized. So everyone's definition of organization looks different. It might be a binder. It might be a to-do list. It might be mine is a very detailed daily DMO because, Loopy will just like get a squirrel, and then I'm done for the day. So I'm a very detailed DMO, and that's what works for me. So that's what you have to do. She was talking about like binders and lists and vision boards and goals and all of that. They mean nothing if you don't take the action to actually do them. You're just sitting there. You're just in your caterpillar. You're not even in the cocoon yet because you're not doing the work that you need to do. So I'm just going through my notes. It's all fun. On your DMO, you have to send friend requests. You have to build your audience, this and that. And it's all fun and games to say, I need to send friend requests. Casey's dying because she knows this is my thing I hate the most. But unless I push that button to send it, it's not going to happen. My audience isn't going to grow, so I have to do it. So we all know that the fortune is in the follow-up. Another action. You have to follow up. Follow up with who you gave a sample to. Follow up with a friend that you were even talking about it, and she said, "Oh, I might be interested," but you were not doing the whole thing. I mean, there's a whole list, like the action. You have to reach out to 5 people. You have to post on Facebook, not just Plexus. You can't puke the Plexus area. You have to put the personal post too, so that people know that this is not the only thing that you do. You have to do an engaging post. You need more people in your audience. You have to do, a business post. It could be that you have a trial coming up, or you might highlight a product. You also, there's just so much like action that you have to do. It's like you have to watch the videos, know your products. You have to send out the little birthday greetings on there. You need to develop personal relationships with people outside of it. Listen to a podcast, listen to a book, all of that stuff. If we want the butterfly check, we've got to do the cocoon work. And so I'm all like, we're done.
Love it. Yeah. Well, she said, what moves the needle in your business? What moves the needle? Figure out what moves the needle, do that stuff. And just sitting around writing in your planner is not moving the needle.
Right.
And
planners are fun, and the lists are fun, and the DMO is great to fill out, but you have to push the button.
Exactly. And I loved it. She was like, get out of your yoga pants. Get out of your house.
Lip gloss on.
It's a lip gloss. Now for Casey, maybe that's a little bit different. She's got to put the yoga pants on to get out of the house to go see people. But it's so true. She was some tough love. She said, quit blaming all your circumstances.
Quit blaming your
family.
family.
Take a shower. Yeah, put your makeup on, go out and meet some people. And I thought it was a perfect segue for us to be starting this scavenger hunt challenge that we're doing right now, because it is forcing people to get out of their comfort zone. Now, that being said, it's the same people that want to move the needle, that were already moving the needle, that are participating in the scavenger hunt. And it's so true. Casey says, drink your Slim, drop the carbs, and get back on your accelerator. I love that. It's true. You have to take some ownership and some control of your DNA. Again, you can't deny it. Kirsten says, I hate pushing the button. I hate that. That pushes me out of my comfort zone. Casey and I have been working on her going to some networking events. She's more of an introverted thing where she gets her energy from being alone. She likes to be with people, but retreating is where she gets her energy. Whereas for me, being around people is where I get my energy. But she's saying, you know what? I know there's people that I want to meet. There's other entrepreneurs. There's other women, business owners. I got to meet some A players. That's where they're at. I'm going to figure it out. Good for her. You know, Annette travels a ton for her job. She's in the airport. She could say, oh, I can't eat healthy. I can't take my products consistently because I'm traveling. It always just cracks me up when people say, oh, well, I can't take my products if I'm traveling. Like, oh, I'm going to the beach. I can't drink my Slim. Or I'm like, I don't understand. You know, like, right. You know, so you can either make excuses or you can make money, but you can't do both. And you got to decide. And like you said, Kirsten, if you want to make that butterfly check, if you want to have zebras and moose run around in your backyard, if that's your thing, you got to do the work. I mean, what was inspiring to me is that there were many jewels, meaning emeralds, sapphires, and diamonds, that did not qualify to go to Leaders Retreat. Why? Because they're no longer doing the action. They have sort of settled in, which is fine. Not everybody wants to go diamond, and they want to do, and that is okay. However, just know that your team is watching you like your children watch you, and they are doing probably about 75% on a good day of what you're doing. So if you're setting the bar like, just know that your team, they're not out there to run faster than you. You got to set the pace and be like, hey, catch my dust, and I'll help pull you along, but I'm going to be the lead dog. And then that really has to be your attitude as a leader, because if not, it's just sort of like this sluggish amoeba. I mean, you might eventually get there, but it's going to be way more painful than if you just do it and do it fast and do it now. Jump in the cocoon so you can get out as fast as possible, because I don't like the messy mush. So I'm just ready to do it. So I want to, as we close, because we've got just about 2 minutes, I am going to unmute Casey, you, and also Annette. So if you each will just say maybe 2 sentences, and I'll start with you, Kirsten, just because you're on my screen right now, about just sort of one takeaway that you've decided maybe to implement in your business, or maybe something you decided to tweak a little bit as a result of leaving Leaders Retreat, and how it's going to help you finish out the year strong. It just like lit a fire. Like, you hear the word retreat, and I was thinking it was going to be more, I'm like, where's the massage? You know, I want to, what's going on? And I'm like, we're going to in Hawaii. Yeah. And so then you're going to a session in the morning, and then we went to see the diamonds and this and that. And it was busy, but I was like, I wouldn't have traded it for the world. I think one of my biggest takeaways too is that you think, people say they're making all this money in this business, or, they're doing it, or that, I'm a diamond. What does that mean? You're really making that. But then when you are there with these people, and you're like, Annette and I were saying, we were right behind Celeste Gwen, and there's just so much energy like coming off of that area. Celeste Gwen, Sonia Dudley, who I had no idea who any of these people were. But you do now. I do now. I'm like, I'm in. I'm going. I don't want a zebra, but I do want, a $3,000 Nordstrom shopping spree. I do want 2 plexuses. I do want,
I want it all. I tell Casey this all the time, but I'm the Veruca Salt of Plexus, and I want it all. I want the world. I want the whole world, you know? So, yeah, it was really motivating and realistic. Just let you know that it is possible, that all of that is, and this was my first like Plexus event too. It wasn't like a sip and see or something. So this was my first Plexus sponsored event. And it was just like amazing. It was also like, I've been to tons of corporate parties. That was the best corporate party. That Halloween party was, amazing.
They do it right.
Yeah, it was done right. So yeah, I would just say
awesome.
It's out there. The money is out there. It's realistic and attainable.
Awesome. All right, Casey, you're next on my screen.
Okay, I think my biggest takeaway was the destination. I've always said I want to be diamond, but just defining what that looks like. So actually, after we went to hear the Barefoot Executive, Aaron and I went out to lunch, and we said, you know, let's define this. Let's make it look a little clearer. What does it mean? How much money is it? What am I spending on it? What does my life look like making, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, you know, versus maybe when I was a teacher making $3,000 a month? You know, who am I treating? What does my day look like? What does our life look like? Where are we traveling to? So we really just defined it and got very specific about what a diamond, because that's both of our destinations, but what that looks like. We've said it before and we're like, yeah, I want to make $40,000 a month, but what does that really mean for our families? Which for both of us, that's our big why. So that was a huge takeaway, and we put it into action immediately, which I think is huge. You can listen to stuff all day, but you got to do the work behind it for sure.
Awesome. And Annette?
Well, I think, you know, the biggest thing about when you get to go to something like Leaders Retreat, or even an event where there are, you know, people there that have hit these levels, these jewel levels, is that you get to spend these time with these people and ask them about their journey. And I think something that I really learned, because we, you know, part of the training is we did go and it was a Jewels Tell All, which was like, I mean, Emily Roberts was there, Amy Paul. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. I mean, yeah, it was just insane. And I think that one thing that I really took away from that is that, you know, and I say this a lot, but I do it. Comparison is the thief of joy. That's it. And, you know, comparing your journey to somebody else's, it's not okay. You know, I mean, there was a diamond that stood up that said, you know, it took me 2.5 years to go diamond. And, you know, but in reality of it, I would have done it if it took me 10 years to be a diamond, because, you know, the rewards of that, the financially and just the success level and the time freedom, it's worth it, you know, and that is that I really took away from that, because, you know, it may take me recruiting 100 level ones to find 3 runners, and it may take somebody 20, you know, I mean, but that's just the reality of it. And I think to really enjoy the journey is something that I really took from that. So one day I'm going to look back and say, you know what? It was hard. It was hard. I had to be consistent every single day. I had to take time away from things that I really wanted to be doing, you know, to make this business work. But you know what? It was worth it. And I think that's what I really took away from all the training.
Thank you. So I want to just congratulate all 3 of you ladies for making the sacrifice to be there. It did cost some money. I mean, you had to get there, and you had to eat while you were there, and outside of what Plexus provided, and the time away from your family. You may have had to ask off for work. You may have had to find a sub for your classes or whatever that looked like for you, but you made it happen, and just know that that does come back. And you're going to be the person that is sitting a few rows. Like Annette said, is it going to be next year? I don't know. Is it going to be 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is? But I know that you all will be there. We will be there, and you'll be the person sitting a couple rows up. and people are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's Kirsten Hamilton. Like, have you watched some of her videos? And people will be photobombing you guys at parties and being like, oh my gosh, can I take a picture with you? And it's just, and that's what it's going to be. People are going to be like, hey, I'm going to follow you to the pool, and can I sit here with a notebook and just pick your brain? And it's a very humbling experience. But in a way, it's like, I still do it. You know, when I went to my very first convention, I mean, I was following Melissa into the bathroom while she was putting her makeup on, getting ready to go get on her plane. And I didn't care. And then Melissa left, and I went up to the pool, and I found Jen Mango, not on my team, not in my upline, but I figured out she was an Emerald. I sat right next to her for like 2 hours, and I mean, talked her ear off. And now every time I see her, we hug, and I just love her. She is one of Alicia McKee's level ones, and we have a bond. But I wanted to know what she knows. I still want to know what she knows because she's been doing it longer than me, and she's been very successful at it. So kudos to all of you guys for putting yourself out there and for going on this trip, because I think it is definitely already paying off. This month coming up for us is going to be a huge one. If I look back a year ago, November, the month following Leaders Retreat last year, that is when I promoted to Ruby in November and Senior Ruby in December. So boom, boom, back-to-back promotions. Why? Because I took what I learned, I applied it, and I said, hey, I'm taking as many people with me next year as possible. That's how I feel about Leaders Retreat. That's how I feel about Super Saturday. That's how I feel about convention. That's how I feel about the Emerald trip, the Diamond trip. It's all out there, and I know that you guys will be on all of those trips because you've set your destination in place. You're going to develop your story. You're going to talk to yourself in a positive way, be your own cheerleader, and you're going to take action to get there. I know you will. I'm so proud of all of you guys, and thanks. I mean, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't express enough gratitude for you guys.